Evening. Thanks for joining us. Police say a guy in Loveland held two people at gunpoint that he thought were members of Antifa. Turns out they were roofing company employees working in his neighborhood.
And one of the victims is also a CSU football player. This happened last night around 6 o'clock on Dawn Court in Loveland. Police say 65-year-old Scott Gudmundsen called police and said two Antifa guys were in the neighborhood and that he planned to go confront them. Antifa, short for anti-fascist, is an umbrella term for groups made up of left-leaning, anti-racist individuals who fight against neo-Nazis and white supremacists. President Trump has suggested that Antifa agitators have been responsible for recent demonstrations across the country. So in Loveland last night, when police arrived, they found Gudmundsen dressed in fatigues and tactical gear, holding these two men on the ground at gunpoint. Police said Gudmundsen was armed with two Glock pistols, and one of them had been converted into a longer weapon that looked like a carbine rifle. These two victims are 20 and 27 years old. Police say they were both wearing blue polo shirts with the roofing company's name on them, shorts, tennis shoes, and white surgical-style masks. Police said they were in the neighborhood canvassing after recent hailstorms and that these two people did nothing wrong. Gudmundsen was arrested on suspicion of 2 counts of felony menacing and 2 counts of false imprisonment. He is due in court next week. Late tonight, we heard from the suspect's son, who says his dad is currently undergoing treatment at a mental health facility. And he added, quote, "Our sincerest thoughts go out to the two salesmen, and we apologize to them and their families for the action of our father and wish them well." Now, we're not reporting the names of these victims, including the CSU football player. They are victims of a crime, and we've been unable to speak to them ourselves. Both police and CSU tell us this was an incredibly traumatizing experience for these two men. In an email to the university tonight from CSU's president, athletics director, and head football coach, they said, quote, "Our student is a young man of color, while the perpetrator is white. Regardless of what investigators learn or reasons the perpetrator gives, we know this. Our student got up Thursday morning, worked out with his team, then showered, dressed, and went to work. Hours later, he was facing a stranger with a gun and hearing police sirens that had been inexplicably called on him. Given what we have seen happening in cities across this country, we know all too well that this encounter could have proceeded very differently," end quote.